actually get an ideal response from him. One question, though, we're going to start things off with that he did see this week, and that was our Heel to the Face Twitter account question of the week. And the question was, who should face, now obviously, injury aside, we obviously know about Braun Strowman being out of action, so it not being really possible. But if you had an ideal candidate, who would you want to see face Brock Lesnar at Extreme Rules, the next pay-per-view? Or essentially, I actually worded this question, so I'm going to take credit for it. Who would you want to see Brock Lesnar face at Great Balls of Fire? And the question is, the winner of the 5-way at Extreme Rules or Braun Strowman, meaning who would you rather see Brock Lesnar defend the championship against next? Braun Strowman or one of these 5 guys from the 5-way?
Or the field.
Or the field. And as of this time, the field is winning 61% to 39%.
Wow, that's still fairly close considering.
So we'll start with you, Paul. Who would you want to see Brock Lesnar defend his championship against next? Braun Strowman, if possible, or anyone from the field?
You know, I would be remiss if I didn't say that I'm very intrigued by the physical possibilities of a Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar being able to match each other from that big physical standpoint. But I am intrigued by some of the new names that haven't gotten a chance to face Brock Lesnar yet. You've got Finn Balor. I'd love to see him get his chance. But if we're going through, I think I'd lean towards Braun Strowman. The injury is unfortunate. It's going to kind of delay the inevitable here. I believe that WWE is going to kind of stick to their guns, and we're still going to inevitably see a Braun Strowman-Brock Lesnar match. But I just don't think that, well, obviously with the injury, it's just not going to happen yet. But I still think that's going to be their ultimate plans. And I like the ultimate plans because I'd really love to see this match with a healthy Braun Strowman and a healthy Brock Lesnar. I think that'd be a fun thing to see.
I mean, that's what WWE wanted us to see. And I have to be on kind of the same boat, even though I do enjoy the possibilities we get out of the 5-way because, it's, again, we're not just saying Braun Strowman versus somebody else. There's so many possibilities. Finn Balor's not one of my favorites. We talked about that in the first segment of the show, that I just don't feel that it gives us the same. You know, Vince McMahon, he's not going to get Braun Strowman versus Brock Lesnar, but the reason he was banking on Brock Lesnar versus Braun Strowman was the same reason he sold us Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg. He likes selling us that heavyweight, matchup, that monster versus monster. So I don't feel, build-up we're going to get that from Finn Balor, but we can get that build-up from some of the other candidates like Samoa Joe, Bray Wyatt. I mean, Roman Reigns, essentially, we could feel it, Roman Reigns. We've already seen that at WrestleMania 31, but we could see that again. And we never really saw the finish at WrestleMania 31. We obviously know Brock Lesnar was destroying Roman Reigns before Seth Rollins came in and cashed in Money in the Bank. But I still have to say Braun Strowman myself because of the fact that I was kind of hyped to see that match.
I love Braun Strowman. That's my guy. But I'm going Samoa Joe. I think Samoa Joe versus Brock Lesnar, that is what I like to call good money. That is going to make a lot of money right there. That's a great matchup between two big guys. And as we were saying earlier on the show, Jarod is not the fan of the Finn Balor thing because of the size, and we talked in depth. Yeah. I understand that. I mean, I could see Finn Balor winning it because WWE could push the hell out of him. But if you want out of the 5, we've already seen the Roman Reigns thing. I mean, Seth Rollins, same. He's got the Finn Balor syndrome. I'm going. It's either going to be Samoa Joe or Bray Wyatt as the ideal competitors, and I'll go Samoa Joe because Samoa Joe is not. He's not young anymore. He's almost 40.
I do want to jump in here, though, because I think this is the first 5-way, and this is maybe the only one I can remember in recent memory, that whoever ends up winning this thing, I'm intrigued by the possibility. I know Roman Reigns has done it already. I know there's Seth Rollins, but some of the new names like Samoa Joe and Finn Balor, I'm intrigued to see what they can do against Brock Lesnar. Again, Braun Strowman's the guy that I would love to see the most, but I think it's WWE has done a very good job marketing their superstars, and any one of these 5, I'm going to ultimately be very intrigued by.
Absolutely.
One guy the WWE has marketed very well, as that moves us to question number 2, and it definitely has marketed himself very well, is The Rock. And The Rock has talked, obviously, he's an actor, he's a comedian for all intents and purposes. He's a sports entertainment icon, and could he be adding President of the United States to that in 2020? Now, obviously, it's kind of like a vicious cycle. The reason why he would probably even consider running is for the fact that a person like Donald Trump from the celebrity realm ran and successfully won, which kind of opens the door for a Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson to run. But the question is, does a Trump presidency, in the sense of we see what celebrity can do, and so far people are not really on board with that aspect, and does that hurt The Rock wanting to run for president in 2020 because of the fact that, like I said, the Trump is being president now, and people might say, all right, we tried the celebrity, we tried the regular Joe being president. Now I think it's time to get back to, a politician. So what do you think, Paul? Does that hurt or help?
I agree.
I mean, it could help, though, because of the fact that we have a celebrity in there right now.
So, yes, I think there's both angles of it. 100% it helps because Donald Trump opened the door. But I think because of The Rock and his persona and being the people's champion, and I think he's a guy who really cares about what everyone else thinks of him when he walks into a room. I think he's a little egomaniacal. I think that he would really care that if The Rock goes in there, of course, I think he could get in there because you saw what Trump just did. I think he could 100% be elected. The problem is when he starts making actual, real decisions that are going to affect everybody, and then people don't start to like him. That's where I think he can really get negative. And because, again, I think he's a big ego guy, just like Trump. He cares about what other people think. I think ultimately, at the end of the day, that scare factor would be the ultimate outlier in terms of him not running for president, because he is seeing Donald Trump literally on the podium. He's seeing this guy on the pedestal, and he's kind of watching on the TV like everybody else about how this guy is kind of going through the presidency, and he's kind of the guinea pig for this kind of thing.
Paul, let me cut you off there. Now, you made a great point there. So in politics, you're never going to make everybody happy. So if he makes one bad, move, so to speak, and say he does get in and he makes a bad move, not to get too much into politics, but everything that Trump does is really under a microscope, which it should be. You're the president.
Yeah, well, yeah, right.
My biggest problem is I honestly think The Rock. I don't want to see The Rock in office because here's the thing: there's how there's divide with our country with the different liberals and conservatives, and
you want to see everyone like The Rock and not be tainted.
Yes, I don't want to see that. So for me, I mean on paper it's a fantastic idea, but he's the people's champion, and let's just keep him out of politics because I think it would do more harm than good. Honestly, I'm
going to say that Donald Trump being president is doing more harm in the sense of kind of how I led up this question, in the sake of as charismatic as The Rock can be. I just feel, we obviously don't know what's going to happen with the current president we have right now. Obviously, things are kind of taking a turn where we kind of feel where they could go, but let's just pretend that Donald Trump stays the course. He survives. He makes it out of the elimination chamber that is the 4 years of being president here. And I just feel that the general public is going to say, like I said, leading up to this question, that The Rock's a great guy. We love him. He's interesting. He's fantastic. He's nice. He's charismatic. He's energetic. But I think it's time to go back to a politician. And while he may have opened the door, I think Donald Trump, the fact that so far he hasn't been regardless of your politics, you're not going to say that this is the best president in the first 100-something days that this country's ever seen. And so far, just from what we've seen, I just feel that the fact that he even has a little bit, I'm being nice, but a little bit of controversy on his side in the sense of Donald Trump.
Trump always got controversy.
I just feel that that's going to stray people away from wanting to vote for a person like The Rock next time around. I think the next president we're going to see is going to be back to a regular politician and somebody who people are just going to say, I don't care anything about their politics other than that they're just a politician. We tried the celebrity route. We tried because people are not just looking at Donald Trump like a celebrity. They look at him like a regular Joe. That's why they didn't vote him, because we wanted a celebrity in office. We wanted a non-politician in office.
You want to see somebody different.
So I think because of what Donald Trump has kind of shown us, I think next time around we don't want a non-politician.
It's too early to tell. Here's my thing, and not to jump on the politics thing way too much. I know we could talk hours on that. But here's my thing: you can't judge a guy. If he stays the course, and as you said, he takes care of business for the next 4 years, you can't base it on the first 100 days. Going to other presidents, they're putting him under a real microscope because he is a celebrity as well. I think going forward, let's just see what he does, and see. It's going to be an interesting. If he makes it in 4 years, it's going to be a very interesting ride for the three of us for sure, and everybody else.
I think Rock would have been better off if he ran for president this time around, more so the next time around, just for the fact that people are kind of, they wanted to see what would happen if a non-politician became president, and I think in 2020 people are going to want to go back to politicians being politicians and celebrities being celebrities. So we move on to our third question of the week. So CM Punk has been offered by UK wrestling promotion 5 Star Wrestling to appear on an upcoming tour. Now, the tour is it's not a tour in the sense of just a tour, but it's a 100-man tournament. Every single year, this UK promotion 5 Star Wrestling, led by founder Daniel Hinkles, runs a 128-man wrestling tournament that starts on June the 10th in Liverpool, England, and goes on for a few weeks to a few months. They've offered CM Punk $1 million to be in this tournament. I can all but assume that means that he won't get eliminated in the first round, so you want him to be a part of
He'll probably win.
Yeah, essentially the majority of the shows. If the tournament is over 5 shows, you want CM Punk to be pretty much a guaranteed advancement for the first 4 shows at least. So the question is, should CM Punk take this $1 million offer and wrestle in this 128-man 5 Star Wrestling tournament in England? Paul, you go first.
What does he have to lose? That's kind of where I'm going to come at this, because I think any PR is good PR. I'm one of those people. Jared, I believe you're one of those people. Brandon, I don't know where you stand on that. So I think that after what CM Punk did in the UFC, I'm a UFC guy. I know Brandon's a UFC guy. Mickey Gall, I mean, come on, guys. The way that he got choked up, the build-up, the hype, and I know some of it wasn't his fault with the injuries, but he was an embarrassment. And I don't think he's ever going to fight in the octagon again. But with that being said, what does he have to lose? He has this girl writing a book. It's getting a lot of success. It's getting a lot of hype. What is CM Punk doing nowadays? I can't honestly answer that question. So for me, I think that he has nothing to lose. And if he's getting offered $1 million to do anything, from bartending to do any kind of dirty job on planet Earth, he needs to take it right now, because I don't think he's in a position where he can do it.
Paul, here's my thing. $1 million, any PR, good. Hey, in my book, PR is PR, whether it's good PR or bad PR. I think $1 million. He's obviously he's the odds-on favorite. You're not going to pay him $1 million just to show up for one thing, like you said, Jared. So
sure,
$1 million. I think he wins the thing if he does it, and I think it's good PR. Maybe. I mean, let me ask you now. Maybe
that can open the door.
Yeah,
maybe
I was going to say
can open the door back into wrestling.
I was going to say you stole my thunder there, Paul. I was going to say, does that prelude to maybe a future WWE return? I know we talked about that in previous episodes, but I mean, let's put it that way.
That would be one of the most unlikely returns that I've seen in the entire length of WWE history, although I would be a huge fan of it. Before CM Punk kind of got the boot and there was all the controversy on his exit, I was one of the biggest CM Punk fans on planet Earth.
Me too.
I love the Muay Thai. I'm a Taekwondo guy. I love incorporating that kind of thing into wrestling. I think that's great. I think that adds a certain dynamic beyond the, stereotype generic karate guy they have coming in, like a Kenzo Suzuki or something. I think it brings somewhat of an originality to the sport. I love CM Punk, and again, they're all for juicing big names and bringing big names back. We see that every year. So, if Vince McMahon can do that with Bret Hart and bring Bret Hart back into the fold and bring some of these guys that we thought were banished from the WWE back, it's not like it's a Chris Benoit situation, and obviously Chris Benoit was gone. So regardless, that was a horrible example. I shouldn't have used that, but I just don't think that there's he's been blackballed. I think that he's on the 70-80% list. I don't think they would love to welcome him back right now, but I think there's the hype of the fans. Every once in a while we hear the CM Punk random chants, whether it's in Chicago or anywhere else for that matter.
People still want him.
And the thing I think that's interesting is that, sometimes if the WWE people don't like it, they just ignore those open chants. But openly, Triple H, Stephanie McMahon, all these people have openly returned those chants and said, yeah, I'm in 26 seconds, or however long the choke was. They openly talk about it
yes.
When they bring up the chants, which I think is really interesting. I think that's great. And they openly smack him around. So I'm all for him coming back. I think 100% he should do this because, again, what does he have to lose here? But I also think
let me quickly get to my answer for this. And my answer to this is, should CM Punk take the $1 million? It really depends on what CM Punk wants to do. Now, you guys are all talking about CM Punk coming back to WWE like they wouldn't want him. I think WWE would take CM Punk in a minute. It's really a whether of a question of CM Punk wanting to come back And he has made it vigorously known that he does not want to ever wrestle again. He wants to stay away. There's no such thing as a controversial return. I mean, the Ultimate Warrior came back. Bret Hart came back. We've seen all this before. So anybody can come back, and they'll take CM Punk back in a minute. Triple H has even said if it's good for business, they'll take CM Punk back. The problem is if CM